Hey everyone, welcome back to the Movie Studio. Today I'm here to review When Calls the Heart, Season 12, Episode 11. It is called Having Faith. So, I wasn't really surprised when this episode turned out to be very emotional just because it was dealing with a very emotional topic. So I'm not really surprised there. I think it was a bit more emotional than what I was expecting, though. And I think that just all has to do with the actors' performances, because really every single actor did a fantastic job during this episode. And, it's interesting because usually this episode in particular, and sometimes, usually the last few episodes are this big, resolving the mystery, a lot of action. At least that's what Season 11 was. Season 10 was the whole, will Lucas run for governor or not, which I still find kind of odd. But last season, it was the whole Jeanette thing, which was very intense. And this season, they went the emotional route by having it be about little Jack and his diabetes. But it was a very good episode. And my only issue is that, it's clear they had to resolve this McGinty plotline so they can have this episode solely focused on little Jack and his diabetes. It makes sense, but still just a bit upset how they halted that McGinty storyline just so quickly to move on to this. But, it was a good storyline, so there's really not much to complain about. Basically, May discovers that insulin is something that's recently been created, but they're not testing young patients yet. So Elizabeth has to write a letter to the doctors or whatever to say that her son deserves a chance to live. So she writes the letter. Mike and May go off to Toronto. Yeah, Toronto. So they go and basically they decide that they can't, or the doctors say that they can't give it to little Jack, and little Jack is not safe to travel there. So the only way he'll be able to get it is in Hope Valley. But you have to have a minimum of 10 patients who have diabetes in order to administer the insulin. So basically their whole mission is to find 10 people that have diabetes, and they're able to find 9, including little Jack. So Elizabeth has to make the case on the phone and then they agree to deliver the insulin to Hope Valley. So then they do it, and it ends up working on little Jack. Obviously, I'm skipping through a lot of stuff, but, it was overall really good. And I think what I liked most about this episode was just the community coming together and rallying around Elizabeth, but also just rallying around each other. Seeing May get such a big role in this whole plotline was so satisfying to me, because I've been complaining. I complained last week. She's a pharmacist. What the heck is she doing cooking? That's not her role. And now, she outdid herself as a pharmacist this episode, and Faith outdid herself as a doctor. She always does. But, seeing Faith and May really step up and lead this storyline, basically. They were the front runners behind it, not including, Elizabeth, of course. Was just very satisfying to see. Now, I thought Elizabeth did a great job in this episode. I thought the opening scene where she ran out, or opening shot where she ran outside her house, was a bit odd, but it's just for the drama. I thought the actors did a great job at just kind of being a little bit of denial at first, and then growing to accept it, and at one point thinking that, there's no way out, but holding on to Hope Valley, get it? Holding on to hope, though, that this will all work out in little Jack's favor and that he'll be okay. Nathan struggling, what do I do in this situation? Do I support, or do I step back? What do I do? And Bill telling him, you be there when it counts. And Nathan saying, my whole job is to save people, but I've never felt so hopeless before. A rare vulnerable moment from Nathan that we usually don't get. And that's the one thing. With the exception of maybe Henry, we don't really see the main guy characters be really vulnerable. Sometimes Bill a little bit, but usually he's tough guy. I would say Mike shows vulnerability, but we don't really see it from Nathan and Lucas. So I was definitely happy to see that from Nathan in that moment, and his moment with Bill was really good. I thought the little kids doing the baseball game on the radio was also really sweet. A bit like were they actually playing baseball? I don't even know. I would assume not. But regardless, it was a nice use of the radio, and it cheered up little Jack too. And once again, the community coming together. It was hilarious to see Lee throwing his popcorn at like the victory, even though I don't even think they were playing on teams. I don't even know. But I also enjoy the Allie and Oliver conversation too. That was really good. You know, they're really building these two up to be a couple. Now I don't really know, will they actually progress that next episode? I assume they will a little bit. I don't know if they'll have them kiss or not, but you know, I think they're really good for each other. I think he cares, and I think that's what Allie needs in a man. You know, Wyatt didn't really care about her. He was just a stupid kid. But Oliver, he actually cares. So I really do like that, and I'm looking forward to their relationship. Now, we did not see Edie in this episode, but Lucas is basically deciding, do I want to run for re-election or not? I assume we'll get an answer about that next episode. I assume he's actually not going to, and we'll see him move on and be something else, or I don't know. I wish he's had more success as governor, but I do think it's pretty realistic that in politics you're going to come across and have struggles. So I think that makes sense to me. Now, Lucas and Edie, I hope there'll be some development with them next episode as well. And then the whole thing with little Jack's pony going missing was the only thing that I felt kind of was out of place. Like, I didn't really see the point of it going missing. I mean, and then it just randomly showed up again at the end of the episode. I thought it was cute when they gathered all the animals around and Joseph gave a little prayer and all that, but I still was like, why, like, what's the point of the animals? Like, it just seemed like a bit odd to me. Now, maybe I missed something, but I thought it would be more of, like, focused on little Jack rather than the animals themselves. But, I mean, I think it's important, you know, the message that God can heal animals too. He heals all people, you know, so we're all part of God's creation. So I do like that overall message. But no, it was a good episode. The next episode, though, it looks like we're going to wrap up some things. We're going to see where the gold is at, because they didn't really address that this episode. There wasn't really time, but we'll find out where the gold's at. And it looks like Elizabeth might have the opportunity to go, like, speak about her new curriculum and do a bit of, like, a tour. So I wonder what that's going to mean. And I guess, will Nathan go with her? Will he stay with little Jack? I'm hoping we'll see, maybe before Elizabeth goes, him proposing to her. I would love to see an engagement. I think it's long awaited. I know people want to see them married already, but I think an engagement's fine. Some people are just want to rush things a bit too much, but I'm hoping that happens in next episode, and I think it will. I don't think they'll end this season without a big moment between them. And think about it, we've already gotten their I love yous. We've gotten so many things between them that I feel like an engagement is an obvious next step. So I'm sure we'll get an engagement. But comment down below, what did you think of this episode? I thought it was a good episode. I would say definitely better than the last episode, which I had some issues with. But, I like the community around each other. I thought Elizabeth and Nathan's scenes were really good. The Nathan and Bill's scene was great. Seeing May and Faith really have prominent roles was great. The kids with the baseball game was great. Basically, everything was great. My only issue was Pal the pony randomly going missing. That was the only thing. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week for the season finale of When Calls the Heart. It's crazy to think we're already there. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.